forgot we started early.
Oh, right, that's all right. I can't watch it.
I know Judge Dan's getting screwed tonight on his Nuggets, but he really isn't. He'll tell us the story. I was just thinking, hey, the early start, 3 nights a week we go at 10:30 Pacific time. Tonight we go at 9 o'clock. Legal podcast. No Justin Watkins. It's actually Justin's birthday, so maybe we should put up his Twitter handle, and everyone can wish him a happy birthday up on Twitter. So,
how old is Counselor Watkins?
What do you think, Adam?
I'm going to guess 44.
Yeah, I was going to say 43. Which certainly puts me to shame, and Adam, because Adam's pushing 50, for our life accomplishments, kind of puts us to shame to what Justin's accomplished to this point. So you're a judge, so you certainly can stand on your own. By the way, is that the picture you were talking about? Do I need to grab that judge picture, the robe and everything?
Yeah, for later in the show. That's
right. I got it.
Backhanded compliment I received for that.
All right. Okay. So, by the way, Dan, are you just laughing at us?
For what?
Think about Monday, right? We were in a pinch. Even though Ari does book probably 99 out of 100 of our guests, we were coming up short on Monday, and I wanted an Avs guest. So in a pinch, probably 3 o'clock, I texted you and was like, hey, let's get one of the guys on from the Fan who's really good at hockey, because we want to talk about the Avalanche on Monday, right? We want to talk about the Avalanche series. So we booked Mike Evans. He came on. He was awesome. And he even kind of joked. He's like, why are you guys calling me? Like, your series isn't over. He's like, I think you're going to win. And then Adam admitted that day to trying to book travel to Colorado. And now look at where we are.
I even said that to you in our text messaging. I said, boy, it's awful odd that you guys would want to preview the Minnesota Wild second round opponent this early. And you said jinxie.
I did. Like I said, I don't have a dog in the fight with the Golden Knights, so I'm just covering them. And at the
time, what do you mean you don't have a dog in the fight?
Like any good media people, we have zero interest in the outcome. We don't care.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, you've never been to Denver then.
100%. 100%.
Denver is so outrageous that for the last 4 to 5 years, I've been calling it straight on the Broncos. And I don't say I get vilified, but
you're the bad guy.
Yeah, I'm the bad guy the team's literally in their worst stretch in their NFL franchise history. And because I've been calling it like it is for the last 4 to 5 years, right. I'm a hater.
What else are you supposed to say?
Right.
Join the club.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I think, what's funny? I think between our two shows, and what do we have? We got 2 hosts in the morning, and we've got a rotation of 4 in the afternoon. So let's say we have 6 local hosts. I am the most positive local guy.
No, not true. That's not true.
Adam, right?
Of the 4 main hosts on the station, 100% you're the most positive.
Yeah. You know what? I'll take you behind the scenes, because I don't know. It was like out of my mind to start the Monday show, and I don't know. I was distracted, and Adam and I weren't flowing. I went to the second break because it was like a Knights game night. They're up 3-1, and I went to the break, and I'm like, God damn, dude! You're like challenging me on everything about being positive on the Knights. I'm like, what's going on here? Like, I was getting mad at him because I'm the positive guy, dude. I'm telling you.
Pritchard and Clay on a different station.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Raider Nation Radio is designed to be
JT. Okay.
Raider Nation Radio. So.
Okay.
I would say they're a little more positive on the Raiders.
Well, that would make sense.
But don't let anyone hear that, and don't send the message, because I don't want to get subtweeted to fucking death.
Yes. No, we had Broncos Radio 760 here. It lasted about a year, maybe 2, and it went away. It didn't work, but they still have their own station, the flagship station, KOA, which is kind of a big station, one of the most iconic stations, in station history. But the ratings have gone way down, but they still make a lot of money. State history.
Brady says that he's currently eating Texas Roadhouse. Hope Adam is jealous.
So good.
Texas Roadhouse is good.
It's tremendous.
I won't go there right now.
Why?
Too crowded. Texas.
It's named after Texas. It's out of Texas.
Good God.
No Florida, no Texas for me for the time being.
We may have quite a bit of Florida talk on the show tonight.
There could be some Florida talk. Sure.
Yeah, KOA goes to 38. I shouldn't be doing this because it's ADD radio, but I was reading the comments. So he's saying late night, sometimes we get KOA here in KC. Yeah, it goes to 38 states at night when they power down the transmitters, at night when the sun goes down. It goes to 38 states. It's, called a blowtorch.
I love that. It's called the blowtorch.
Yeah, the blowtorch.
For the people who aren't radio people, you're right.
Yeah.
The blowtorch.
50,000 watts.
Yes. Used to be 75,000 watts for the Mighty 1090. That was a blowtorch.
Yeah.
Of course, their transmitter or their tower was in Mexico, so they get away with 75,000. I think WLW in Cincinnati is another one of those stations. What's the one? Is KMOX? I think that was like a powerhouse that
St. Louis.
Yeah, almost reached the entire country. So, radio history.
I don't know how strong it was, but I will say before this part of town was so developed, I could absolutely get KNBR in San Francisco at night for sure here in Vegas.
Has that changed?
Well, it's too developed now, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I used to hear KNBR coming out of the station all the time, man. All the time. Because I think what was that guy's name? The Razor? I forget his real name. Was it Ralph Barbieri? It was Razor and Tom Tolbert, and I would walk out at like 6:05, and they'd be on freaking KNBR beaming into Vegas.
Now, full disclosure, I don't check very often. I used to try to listen to Giants games on there, but then after satellite radio became in vogue, you could just listen to baseball anywhere.
By the way, Tolbert hated you for some reason, Cofield.
What?
I don't know why. We back in the sports fan days. So we paid for him. I don't know how it happened. We, because remember we had the free rooms at Mandalay Bay,
right?
So remember our old PD Ryan Williams was like, yeah, we were putting up Tolbert, so we were paying for his stay.
Right.
I'm producing You and Tyranny on the weekends. Tolbert's sitting there on our dime, front row at the sportsbook at Mandalay Bay. You're on the air on us. I'm like, hey Tom, you're here, but, on our dime. Can we get you to come over and do a few minutes with Cofield? Yeah. I'll be right over. I don't know what you did to him. I couldn't get him over here. Yeah, I'm telling you, I'm serious.
I knew you were making it up.
I'm not making it up. I'm serious. I'm like,
I never knew who the hell I was. Why would he even know who I was?
I don't know. I swear to God, I'm like, hey Tom, Dan Jacobs, a sports fan. You're here with us, Ryan Williams. He says, yeah, I'll be right over. Could not come over. What other explanation could it be other than I said it was Tierney and Cofield? It had to be you. What else could it be?
It's funny, Chrissy. You remember this one, Adam? We love Chrissy, but I think Chrissy tried to pull that on me because she said that Vital and Billis were mad at me, and I'm like, how would they even know who I am? Now, Vital may have been mad because we were told it was at the front end of the Arizona scandal, and Billis and Vital were just flipping out. They were like the only big-time media guys going after Sean Miller. And I think Chrissy said something like, hey, he really doesn't want to talk about Sean Miller. And he came out, and I was like, we're talking about Sean Miller. So maybe he got mad at that. But why would Billis, would he go back to Billis and be like, oh, the asshole at ESPN Vegas, maybe talk about Miller? Like, cut it out.
By the way, did Vital flip out on an airplane today?
Wait a second. Did he?
I heard he flipped out about, I was listening to the station today. He flipped out about like the accommodations on United first class. Like he didn't like the flight in-flight meal. He got mad or something. Like apparently like he flipped out about it. They were reading the menu on the drive today. They were like, he didn't like the focaccia Tuscan chicken sandwich or the options. And like, wow, Dickie V flipped out.
You might be right. Yeah, look, Dick Vitale was not happy with his flight today. That's on the spun.
Yeah.
Well, these old guys are very demanding, right, Adam? With Bernie Sanders in his outrageous hotel requirements.
Jerk. The temperature controlled jerk.
Dan, did you see this? What the New York Post was like suggesting that Bernie Sanders was out of control. He's a diva with his hotel request. Did you see it?
No.
Tell him, Adam, and the audience.
So it came out in a book, a revelation about Bernie Sanders and his demands on the road when he goes to, make a speech or make an appearance somewhere. And it really is just a laundry list of craziness. You've heard of people like all green M&Ms.
Sure.
To, sort through all those. His rider, he needs a king-size bed.
Whoa.
And the big one, he needs the room to be 60 degrees.
Wow. That's like worse than a frat boy, though. Like 60 degrees.
Yeah, he also needs a dark blue blanket.
Doesn't he have like the thin blood? How does he survive? He's old. He's got the thin blood. Like, how can he?
When you think about it, that doesn't make sense because he had on the jacket and the mittens, which turned into a giant meme, but he has to sleep at 60 degrees.
That's odd. Something else adding up there.
Well, I will say this, as somebody who is very weird in my sleeping habits, my preferred sleeping habits would be to sleep in a room that's like 10 degrees and have 50 comforters.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I think that's where he's at. He wants the 60 degrees, but then he wants the blanket too.
The blue blanket.
Yeah. And listen, when you're that age, whatever makes you comfortable, I think you could get it. And I, as I said, the one thing that I have a problem with Bernie, and that people should maybe have a problem with, is that he is very much about climate change and a lot of things have to be done there. And if you're demanding rooms are 60 degrees, there's probably is taking a lot of energy. Right. However, if you read further, didn't part of it say, Steve, that some of it is like, hey, just open the window. If you can't get you can't get it that cold, open the window, make it cold. I just wanted 60 degrees in there.
Which they were describing as, he wanted to kind of circumvent the system by opening the window. Is opening the window that outrageous? I guess it kind of is at hotels because so many of them won't let people open the windows, but I'm a big open window person. I am such a big open window person that my freshman year in college, I was paired with a dude who had the worst smelling feet ever. So I always had the windows open, but I would tolerate almost anything.
At Rutgers?
Yeah.
Does it smell any better when you open the windows at Rutgers?
Yeah, it's in the God's country there in Piscataway, New Jersey.
In New Jersey?
Yeah. It's very outdoorsy. But there was one time in the winter, kind of cold, and then I noticed that two pigeons had kind of walked in the room, and they were walking around the room with the window open. So maybe I pushed it too far, but I'm with Bernie. Open the window.
By the way, we were talking about my trip out there to see you guys in September. I wound up, and then I don't like to call it gouging because it's just free market. I wound up literally having to play. I found it ironic having to play hotel roulette to get my hotel in Las Vegas. Where you do the find out which hotel room you get.
Oh yeah,
after you pay.
That's my thing.
That's what I did. Yeah.
Where's that on? What site?
Priceline.
Hotwire. Oh, I was gonna say Hotwire or Priceline. You can do both. Yeah.
Yeah,
really?
I did Priceline.
Was it fun?
Yeah, well, because they have levels, right? It's like you're going to stay at one of these three, and you could do like the lower level, like Circus, or the Link, or Sahara, or and the wife's coming, and we're kind of at the stage. We're not like at Justin Watkins level. We're not going to be staying at like those type hotels, but we're like we're going to stay, somewhere at least decent. So it was like Aria, Bellagio, Vidara, the offshoots of Bellagio, Mandalay Bay, or Aria, and we wound up at Vidara.
That's a good score, man. I think that's a really good score, right, Adam?
Oh, it's fancy, nice, good pick.
When you told me that, I was like, that was good. You were talking about staying at the freaking Tropicana.
Yeah, and so, but here's the kicker: they all have because any of the, just so you know, on those game day weekends, and it was a 4-night. We're staying for 4 nights, so even like the Rio or the cheapest ones were like a G. By the time the infamous stadium tax that Cofield's ranting about every time we come on, all that stuff, it's 9 something to a G. every time. So, but they're adding on. This was supposed to be like $150 a night.
What it went up? $235.
Resort fee, everything. It was a little over $1,200 for the 4 nights. It was about. It was just right at $300 a night for the nice hotel for Fedara.
So ridiculous.
Yeah.
What were the dates?
So the Dolphins game in September.
Okay.
Was that the 3rd game or the 4th game?
I was trying to see what the weekend was because I was going to look there. There's a place downtown that I find to be awesome, and I don't know if it is. I know it's like once you do those, that's the downfall to what Dan is talking about. The downside is like you're basically locked in. Like it's non-refundable, but mostly. Mm-hmm. So you're like, well, we're coming. We're definitely coming here, so we've got to take this. So it might be too late now. I'm just going to see. Has anybody in the chat ever stayed at the Cabana Suites at El Cortez?
Not yet. I want to.
Love that place.
You stayed there?
Yeah, absolutely love it.
Really?
Yeah.
It's El Cortez. Dan, it's off the main building of El Cortez, and it was an old dumpy motel, and they redesigned it in Miami style. And I've never been in there. So it's
downtown?
Pretty cool. Yeah, downtown.
I enjoy it.
Yeah, it's problematic. I mean, downtown is problematic though because you spend a fortune in rides.
True.
Yeah, and right now it's a problem too because we're short on Uber and Lyft.
Yeah. Like I like to go downtown, spend one ride to get downtown, spend the day,
right,
and come back because back when I lived there, I was hanging out with you guys. You could go stay downtown cheap. It was cool. Everything was cheap. That was the secret place to go. Now downtown's expensive. Like downtown is not cheaper. It's not. It's just a different place to go hang out.
What's your favorite place downtown, Adam, to stay at?
To stay? Well, now Circa. I mean, it's freaking ridiculous. But I do like the Cabana Suites at El Cortez. I don't mind Golden Nugget. I think Golden Nugget is fine, especially the one tower.
Yeah, Nugget's
Golden Nugget is better.
I think Downtown Grand is a good buy, and I think Plaza is pretty solid too. But
yeah,
if you're super picky, then Plaza might be out of your realm. But Downtown Grand is pretty much new, and they just built a whole new tower, so
it's not bad.
All right, Dan. So what's going on? So the Nuggets are playing right now. 3-point game, 45 seconds left in the third. They're up 82-79. I had Chad Anders, our mutual Denver buddy, send me this whole thing about some release from the Nuggets. So what the frig is going on there with TV and availability?
Yeah, so here's the deal. Like Stan Kroenke was very, very smart, I don't know, 18, 20 years ago. Instead of just selling the rights fees, which I don't know how much you get for those, you get a nice little penny. He said, I'm going to start my own network. He made a killing. I bet you he's probably made close to $1 billion off that because he has the Avs and the Nuggets. You get X amount of dollars per subscriber per month. I'm sure he made $60 to $80 million a year off that. Problem was Comcast and Dish were saying, we're not doing that anymore. Sorry. So their deal was up 2.5 seasons ago, and Kroenke's just like being stubborn. He's like, well, screw it. So they have not been on TV for 2.5 seasons now. And last year in the playoffs, they lied to everybody and said, well, we don't have any choice. It's going to be blacked out. There was kind of a revolt. They said, fine, we're going to put all the games on TV. This year, we thought they were going to do the right thing and put all the games on TV. Tonight's game, by some happenstance, was an NBA TV game. They're blowing, they said, well, we're going to make it the in-market exclusive of Altitude, which is the name of Stan Kroenke's television network. So they put out this ridiculous, statement saying, well, Dish and Comcast continue to screw the fans, blah, 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 blah. It's all BS. By the way, here was Dish Network's offer. They keep saying, Kroenke's group keeps saying, Comcast and Dish are screwing over the fans. So in January, here's what Dish Network said. They said, okay, here's our offer. Since Comcast or Altitude keeps lying, we'll put you on within 24 hours. We'll put this network on the air right away. Now we'll do it within 24 hours. We'll stream it and put it on Dish Network all across the nation for free. You just tell us what to charge the customers. And you guys keep 100% of the profit. We won't take a dime. We'll cover the carrying costs. Whoever wants it, you just tell them what to pay. That's our offer. Nuggets and Avs fans can have it for whatever they're willing to pay, whatever you want to charge. You keep all the profit. We don't want a dime. And Stan Kroenke, for whatever reason, I don't know why, said no thanks. And so they've remained off the air. And they have the stupid lawsuit with Comcast. It's doomed to failure. I wrote an article on it. I read it. The judge has said I'm going to dismiss it as soon as I can. He dismissed most of it, and then he said, it's all predicated upon they allege that Comcast is trying to muscle them out of business so Comcast can come in and take over their market share. The big problem is now Comcast is selling off their RSNs. They don't want to be in this business either. So it's just Kroenke. He's a greedy billionaire. You look at his track record. He took in his home state. He's the favored son of Missouri, right? He moved the football team out of Missouri to LA. He doesn't care. Look at what he's doing with the Arsenal over across the pond. Yeah. He doesn't care about the fans. So,
well, to be fair, I think we need the context on this. Like, his sports businesses are hurting. So, he doesn't really have much money. He's got to make sure he makes it where he can.
Right. We were looking at that. Does he have a complex? Because I said, well, in fairness, because he's only worth $7 billion, but his wife's worth $8 billion. Does he have a complex over that? And I said, well, let's be fair, but did he have his money first, right? Like, was he a self-made man? Probably he had his money and then he married into the Walmart fortune. Nope. He married her first. And I said, well, but he did make his own successful real estate business. And then it was like, oh, it was kind of predicated in Walmart real estate areas. So dang it, this guy can't catch a break.
Yeah, poor guy.
So it's just, but how much is enough? I mean, that's what we were talking about, because I was talking to a producer behind the scenes. We were out, having beverages with him one night, 15, 20 years ago. He's eating a steak at the restaurant inside the Pepsi Center. And we're hanging out with a couple of his employees. They may have had $20, $30 max worth of drinks. He didn't even pick up their tab at his restaurant that cost him nothing. No, nothing. And my producer says, well, you don't get to be a billionaire by picking up your employees' tabs and at your own restaurant where it costs you nothing. And I'm like, I'm not so sure about that. Yeah, I don't think that's the way Stan Kroenke became a billionaire. And then we looked at it and it was like, yeah, nope, he married into it. That's how he became a billionaire. So
smart.
Yeah. He became. We are at Kroenke Enterprises. We earned our money the old-fashioned way.
We married
into it. Yeah. So we didn't get to watch. So we don't get to watch the Nuggets game tonight in the playoffs. The Nuggets, who have been so terrible, we were last in the league. Here's my thing. They were, even when they were starting to become good and Jokic and Murray were coming up, they were still last in the league in attendance. The Avs and Nuggets are really, really good right now, but I guarantee you what's going to happen is their windows are going to be so incredibly short. By the time they get back on TV on a regular basis, those windows are going to be, on the way down. It's going to be a nightmare. It's pathetic.
It's fine. Everybody only care that you have Aaron Rodgers and you're winning Super Bowls.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. Oh, everybody's excited, man. They love Aaron Rodgers. He's coming.
Could be Deshaun. Could be somebody.
Yeah, Deshaun. Yeah, that's another thing that they're rekindling hope around here. Well, not so much around here, but Deshaun's rekindling hope that it's all blown over now.
They should try to trade for him on the cheap. Well, his market value is as depressed as it's ever going to be.
Well, the thing is, they just said this week his deposition. I don't know if they said it could be as late as September of 2022, but it's definitely not going to be until 2022. His deposition will be in 2022 at the earliest. I mean, it will be sometime in 2022, but it won't. He will not be deposed until 2022. Early 2022 at the soonest. So
let me ask you, because I've been asking all the legal insiders on this one, because he's not going to be deposed until 2022. Should the NFL just back off? Let him play. You have no right to freaking stick your snouts in what's going on right now when the legal process has to play out. He should be free and clear to play right now.
Yeah, as of right now, I think the league can do whatever they want under that exemption policy. Right now, I think it's wise for him to pretend he's holding out because he wants to be traded, I guess. At some point, they are going to have to make a decision. Is he going to go on the exempt list? Is he not? How much is his Busby guy? I think part of the issue is here, I just don't know how much this Busby guy has. Now we see Andrus there on our feed there about the Nuggets. Is that another backhanded compliment? The only reason Chad Andrus in Denver would possibly have to watch us is because he can't watch the Nuggets. I think that's what he's getting at. There's a lot of reasons to watch this podcast, Chad, not just because you can't watch the Nuggets. Highly entertaining we are. They're going to have to choose with Watson. I just don't know. Other than he said, she said, what do they have to move forward? What would they have, the NFL have to say, we want to put him on the exempt list and not allow him to play? This isn't some sort of criminal allegation. There is no criminal investigation whatsoever. Right now, everything we've had is very, very flimsy as far as the allegations alleged by Mr. Busby. If proven true, yes, they're horrible. It's light on proof right now. So I don't know what the league would have to go on to say we can't allow him to play. They could say, out of an abundance of caution, we're putting him on the exempt list and he's going to get paid. But that's very, right now it's very, very thin. They'd have a very, very, very thin basis to do that.
Should we update listeners on scores every once in a while just because they can't watch the game?
The Nuggets game.
Nuggets by 5 to start the fourth.
Yeah, is that what it is?
Yeah.
How's Michael Porter Jr. doing, by the way?
Let's see. He's 4 of 8, 12 points, 5 boards, 1 assist.
Yeah.
3 fouls, 3 turnovers. Not bad. The real key to the series, Aaron Gordon, turned things around.
Yeah.
Only 9 points.
Yeah, that was great. The Nuggets loving media. What a stroke of genius by Michael Malone, putting their best defensive player on the Trailblazers' best offensive player in Game 2. That was brilliant coaching.
Well, I think the reason it's a good decision, or that you get credit for it, is not necessarily that decision. It's because I don't know that Stotts even knows what basketball is. So it's like he's like, hey, I've got guys that can shoot it. Go out there and shoot it. Well, what should we do? I don't know. Go shoot. There's no game plan.
By the way, are you talking about head coach Terrence Stotts?
Yes.
Right. Right.
Dan, you realize we are children. We are immature. Adam is way ahead of me in terms of the immaturity. The Mike Malone showdown the other day with Cassidy Hubbard set us off. What did you think? What did you think of that, Daniel?
That's your honor if we're going to play that game.
Yeah, that's even better. Your honor.
You could stand up while you address me too if we're going to get to that.
Yes, I know, right? Michael Malone.
Yeah. We made a lot of it here in town too. I mean, I didn't make that much of it. I have some issues with Coach Malone. But they're competency issues. I don't think he's. I think it was a bad moment for him. I think Coach Malone is actually a pretty decent human being. Actually, I don't think he's one of the bad guys in sports at all.
I like him.
It was petty. I think it wasn't his best moment. But if that's the worst moment in his life, I think he's probably done a pretty good job. It was a very, very bad look for him. It's bad look for his PR department, who probably should have prepped. Isn't that their job to let the NBA, the reporters know that, hey, this is, something he's sensitive about. This is how the coach would like to be addressed during these interviews. I mean,
has he ever been before? Has he ever addressed this before?
Yeah, I think he has. I think he's always made it known. I think I don't cover them on a regular basis, but he doesn't like to be called Mike, and so I would think a professional and PR staff would, let the national reporter. I mean, can you imagine Popovich? Somebody not being prepped properly to interview Greg Popovich.
Gregory.
Yeah.
What's up, Gregory?
Yeah. So it's a bad look for their PR staff, or Bobby Knight, whatever. You would think these people would be prepped properly. It wasn't a good look for the PR staff. It wasn't a good look for the reporter not doing her homework, and it was just most of all was a bad look for Coach Malone. But people have been killing him over it. He should know better, but it was just a bad moment for him. It's really not a reflection. And actually, Chad, you're in the chat. Chad knows a lot about Coach Malone.
He said it's only been in the game notes for 6 years.
They have to put in the game notes.
Yeah.
Bold. So, it's Michael, not Mike.
Right. So I actually think Coach Malone is actually a pretty good human being, and he had a bad moment there on national TV, and he's paid the price for it. By the way, here's if you're going to indict Coach Malone for something, this middle-aged white man went shaving his head bald for 5 years and has a completely full head of hair, which shame on him for that. What a jerk he is for that.
Let's not even start, because we have a couple people we know. That Helwani can grow a full head of hair. Sure, he's got it shaved down all the time. Ariel Helwani, and the other one in the fight game was Frank Trigg. Adam and I got so pissed off. He's a former fighter and now he's a media guy. And then next time we see the guy a couple years ago, he's got a full head of hair. You son of a bitch.
Yeah, doesn't piss you off?
Yes. All of a sudden, I'm doing a fucking Trump comb over. By the way, you know what? This is all those times that people laughed at Donald Trump, right? When he'd be at the airport and he'd have this it would just fly all over the place. And then other people would be like, he's wearing a goddamn suit. Why does he have the stupid red hat on? And I was at the gas station the other day and it was real windy and it kept coming behind me. And I'm like, now I understand. I was like, I'm scrambling through the car for a hat. I'm like, where's my Make America Great Again hat? I understand, because it is horrifying when you do these comb overs and you get a bad wind. It's a fucking nightmare. My hair was just straight up and blowing forward. I'm like, this is stupid.
Well, when you have it combed 16 different ways, our beloved former president does, it's a little different, but it's when it's placed on there strategically like a Lego helmet, it's a little different. But with Malone, it was just all of a sudden after a time off, he showed up with a full head of hair, and I was just like, you son of a.
Must be nice.
Yeah, you jerk.
Show off.
Yeah. What was going through your mind, Mike, for 5 years when you were shaving your head every day? What was going through your mind? I'd like to cross-examine you on this for a little bit. Let's spend some time on this, Mike.
Get it together, Mikey. The reason it hit me so hard, and Steve knows this, I've long been obsessed with alternative forms of people's names that we only know one way. So any name, if you say it a different way, I will laugh forever at that. It's ridiculous. It'll get me every time. When he said Bobby Knight, if somebody were to call him Robbie,
yeah,
Robbie would be great.
It would have made me laugh forever.
Robert,
it's just funny. It's just,
and here's the thing. I really don't think it upsets the short name people to be called the long name, but vice versa. If you're a Steven, you don't want to be called Stevie or Steve. And you heard Mike Malone. If it's Michael, you don't want to be called Mike. Same. I don't get it. I've never gotten the full form of the name, but I'm a man of the people, so I don't want to be standoffish Michael Malone. So I got an audio gem for you. I'm not even sure if it applies, but I felt like it did. So was it 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago? You guys got into it over, are the massage ladies, are they prostitutes? Right? In the Deshaun Watson case. And it went on for 20 minutes. And then we got a gotcha crew on Twitter trying to get at him. I talked to a legal insider, Dan Lust, the other day.
Oh, yeah.
And Dan, I posed a question, and this is actually Dan's question. What are the actual charges that could come down on Deshaun Watson? So I hope I queued up the right part, but let's see what you guys think of this. I saw you post a very interesting question. This is something that we did on our legal podcast, and it's very touchy. It's very touchy here. There's an argument here in terms of the charges. Is it committing sexual assault or taking part in illegal prostitution?
But that's, I mean, like, I don't know, you know, I'm there as the attorney. I'm sitting here. Rusty Hardin has said a lot of things, and I think we spoke about it in a previous appearance. There's a danger to litigating the case in the media because you can't take back certain statements from the public conscience. Rusty Hardin, whether he's going to acknowledge it or not, has essentially said that there was, transfer of money, right? These were, good faith massages and services were performed. You can't have another argument that says, hey, these were consensual acts if there is a, payment being exchanged. So to me, that seems to be right, that you're paying for something that's consensual seems to be, another way to say prostitution, in which case, I've also, tried to be pretty vocal on this. The NFL can suspend him, not just for civil sexual assault. They could suspend him for engaging pretty publicly and openly on an Instagram platform in, prostitution, which is not legal in the state of Texas. So yeah, I think there's a couple different routes if you're doing one of those books when you were younger, right? Which door do you want to open? You want to go down the civil sexual assault door? You want to go down the prostitution door? A lot of these different doors lead to a suspension. So I think more likely than not, he gets suspended at this point.
Not so outrageous when Adam Hill posed the question a couple of weeks ago, huh?
Well, not to go all lawyer on it, but and not to defend Rusty Hardin, but that's not what Rusty Hardin said. Rusty Hardin said there were consensual sexual encounters between consenting adults. And if you ask Rusty Hardin, what happened was there were, I'm assuming, this is not a big leap, that what started out as massages between two adults, a professional massage, then became unrelated to the massage. The professional service became separate from what was paid for. Consensual sexual acts, sex, whatever, between adults. That's it. That he didn't pay for the sex. He paid for he paid for the massage. That was what was paid for. Done. And then separately as adults that enjoyed each other's company, that had just met, they had sex, and there was nothing illegal about it. So it doesn't have to be prostitution. Now, Adam, but that wasn't what we were talking about. Adam was like some sort of moral argument that no person on the planet should ever be called a prostitute, I think is what he was saying. Morally, it's morally wrong to call anybody a prostitute.
No, it was how many times
sexual promiscuity specialist or something that should be called something more dignified, more dignified for their services. Nobody on the planet should be called a prostitute. It's immoral.
Yeah. And to James' point, I was against labels of any kind, sure. But I was like, if we're going to start throwing labels around, we have to come up with a number. How many times do you have to accept money for sex to be labeled a prostitute? That's where the argument started. Right. But we don't need to go down that road again. But I would say if what you're saying is the case, which I think what you said is true, what you just said right now. But if that's the case, like, isn't not every business, of course, but aren't there thousands of businesses right now that are like, oh, really? All right, cool. Well, you're coming here to get food, and if you just happen to have sex with the waitress, so be it. And the entree is $200. Like, doesn't that open that door if we're going to differentiate like what you're paying for in terms of service?
You're talking about in Las Vegas?
Anywhere, in Denver, or anywhere. You can just say like, hey, they came in here to get food. They just happen to pay. They paid $300 for a steak. And the waitress is like, yeah, I like you. Let's have sex.
Well, the business would have to profit. Why would the business allow sex in its food service area? How would they profit from it?
Well, they would, because you're paying for the steak. Then they're splitting the money that you pay for the steak with the waitress and the house.
How are they splitting what? They're charging $200 for the steak?
Yeah. And then they're taking their cut for the food, and the waitress is getting the rest as a tip. And if they just happen to like the customer, then
is there a bed there? Is there a bed?
Yeah, there's a back room. Sure.
You can eat your steak in the back room? I mean, come on.
You're going to have your steak, and then the waitress likes you, so you're just going to have to happen to go with her. I just
go with her where?
To the back room where they want to, because they decided, if you're saying, all I'm saying is that if in the Deshaun Watson case, if we're saying, all right, hey, they paid for the massage, The sex afterwards was consensual, according to
Rusty
that side of it. According to Rusty Harden, okay, fine. Well, then but I know that's the defense side and it's different. But if we're going to allow that, now we're just opening the door to all kinds of transactions that are like, no, you're paying for this, and if you just happen to have sex with the waitress or whoever at the end, hey, so be it. Like that's just a weird argument to me.
Well, Rusty Harden's arguments are weird and hard to believe. Sure. Yes, he should have kept his mouth shut. Yes, he should not be speaking publicly. Yes, I would agree. But when he goes to court, that is what he would argue. He's going to argue to the trier of fact, whether that be a judge or a jury. I'm sure they're going to want to argue to a jury. Is that he is going to try and make it sound like that these women were so enamored with this good-looking professional athlete that it just kind of morphed on each and every occasion. That some of them are lying, and then the ones that are not lying, they just were happy to have their Derek Jeter moment with Deshaun Watson or whatever. I mean, that's what he's going to sell.
But Carmelo just won a personal 8-0 run to tie the game. So,
sure, Nuggets fans will be very happy with that. They love them some Carmelo.
So Dan, we want to lean on your advice here, your expertise on the Russell Westbrook incident yesterday. First of all, can throwing popcorn on an individual be assault?
Well, I mean, it could be. Now, getting somebody to prosecute that. Now, it reminds me of in Denver. I don't know if you guys know this. There was an infamous incident where one of Kenyon Martin's teammates filled his, Bentley or whatever it was with popcorn.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
I think the packing popcorn. Was it actually with popcorn?
I think it was popcorn. It may have been J.R. Smith too, maybe. And Kenyon Martin.
By the way, it's packing peanuts. Sorry about that.
Yeah. I think he literally had to be restrained from physically murdering him, and I think it may have Chad actually would know if he's still watching. He could comment, but he was going to physically murder his teammates. It may not have been a teammate. It may have been like a ball boy or something that was put up to it by a teammate, I think is what it was. And he was going to kill the assistant manager. It was good times around here back then. But anyway, so yeah, there was popcorn thrown on. It was a Russell Westbrook. And I know there was a spitting incident as well in the league. Technically, if you make contact or whatever in an offensive matter, would have to look up the elements exactly from law school. But yeah, making the contact could be, I think it would be a battery. I think would be the more term for it. Now,
what does the object that's thrown? Where, what does it have to be? Where if it would be battery or assault? Are we talking like a full bottle of water? Like, is it the weight?
No, it just has to be something that makes. Here, let me elements. Criminal. Where was it?
Pennsylvania.
Yeah, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
The defendant acts to cause contact with the victim. It's harmful or offensive, and causes the victim to suffer the contact. So, yeah, the three elements of, so how harmful was it? Is it probably going to be, what was it harmful? How harmful was it? It's the intent to cause harmful or offensive contact on the part of the defendant. And so I think it's going to hinge on how harmful or offensive was the contact. It's popcorn. Did it rake him in the eye? It's pretty weak.
Does it have to be foreseen? Like, say you did that and you're like, hey, I'm just being silly. I'm dumping popcorn on the guy. No big deal. And either butter drips into his eye, damages his eye, something he can't play, or popcorn drops on the ground, he slips on it, gets hurt. Would you have to foresee the outcome for it to apply?
Well, there's an intent element to cause harmful or offensive contact. So it's not negligent, right? Now that's a different thing you're talking about, which would not be a criminal. You're talking about a injury, right? Like he slipped and fell on popcorn, or he got hurt in the eye. That would be different. Now you're talking about, again, would it be an assault or a bad? You know, are you charging him criminally because he got hurt in the eye because you slammed him with popcorn? That injury, the injury would be the way I'm trying to explain it is if it was the injury was accidental, you wouldn't necessarily be charged. But if you were trying to do it, you were doing it maliciously, and he was injured, then yes, that would affect the charging decision. Is basically the way to answer your question, Adam. But if it was totally innocent, oh man, I was just being silly and stupid. You know, even if you're upset, like say Spike Lee was upset with Michael Jordan and he threw his popcorn at him and something seriously happened, you're probably not going to get charged. It's popcorn, right? But if you're throwing batteries, you know, you're something more serious, yeah, you could get charged.
Bodily fluids, spit in the Trae Young case. Where are we there? And during COVID, where are we then?
Yeah. Now during COVID, if you're doing it, and people did get charged, if you're coughing, deliberately trying to infect somebody with a disease, there are specific. You wouldn't be charged with assault or battery. There are specific crimes that you can be charged with. Like when people were. Actually, some people did get charged with, I think even maybe attempted, back when the AIDS pandemic was really bad, I think they may have been charged with up to attempted murder, I think, maybe. But there are crimes specific to infectious diseases that you can be charged with based on your trying to infect people with those.
Adam?
I mean, I guess
on the Trae Young deal, Young, and here's the other question: Young is choosing not to press charges. Could cops just move ahead on their own and say, "All right, you know what? We got to send a message. You can't be spitting on basketball players."
You can, but it's just not a great precedent. And I think we talked about Masai Ujiri as well. You know, that one they probably should have moved forward with, but Masai Ujiri, I think, ultimately elected to not press charges on that guy. That was one they probably should have, but. You know, clogging up the system, you know, how far are we going, people? Like, it's popcorn, it's spitting, it's distasteful, they're ejected, they're not allowed to come back.
But Dan, isn't there a greater good in mind with fan behavior? Because there are fans who don't seem to take it very seriously. So doesn't a message need to be sent like, this is serious. Stop touching players, stop threatening them, don't spit on them. Here's an example. And I know Adam doesn't believe that, you know, there's people look at jail time and penalties and that it's, you know, it prevents anything. It's any sort of preventative measure. But don't we have to send a message to certain fans like, stop acting like assholes?
Well, I mean, for throwing popcorn, I mean, you're going to charge him with a crime that he's going to serve 0 jail time with. You know, he's probably going to get deferred judgment. There's going to be almost no. I mean, he'll get a fine or something, and he'll complete. His, you know, and depending on it depends on their criminal history, I suppose. When I say whether or not he'll get a deferred judgment, he'll absolutely get probation no matter what, unless, you know, he's on parole or something. You know, when he's on his very last strike on parole or probation. So there's no. I mean, they're not going to jail for it. I mean, are we clogging up our system? People don't realize how, you know, depending on where they are, overtaxed our system is, and you know, our system isn't meant to deal with stupid things like popcorn and, you know, spitting on athletes. If you have to, I guess, but throw them out. They're not coming back. That's it. They've been embarrassed on TV. Shame them on social media or whatever. They're ostracized in the community. Probably the biggest shame they'll ever feel is being shamed by Steve Cofield on Cofield and Company.
God damn it!
Isn't that enough?
Well,
no, what greater shame will this man know in his life?
Okay, hold on. Let me segue that, because I'm a professional broadcaster, Steve. I'm very good at this. The public shaming of somebody who does something like this, as opposed to some sort of criminal, repercussions. Like, isn't that kind of what we're seeing with that Central Park Karen, which is, hey, we all publicly shamed her, and we said, hey, this is what the punishment is. The punishment is you're going to be shamed and mocked and ridiculed everywhere you go because you did some racist nonsense in the park, and you're awful, and we're going to shame you publicly. And then her response is, oh yeah, I'm going to sue everybody for defaming me and making it public that I did this. And now I'm going to try to fight back that public shaming. Like, isn't that kind of the argument against, like, hey, we need to charge people because public shaming apparently results in getting sued?
Well, defamation is one of the weakest things. Most lawyers won't take on a defamation case. Now, I didn't get a chance to click I know you guys sent out a rundown and saying what she writes. So what were you guys getting at with that?
Well, she got her job because she got publicly shamed and humiliated. Her job was like, hey, listen, we can't employ you. You've been publicly shamed. So you're getting fired now. So now she's suing the employer. I mean, it's different in that regard. She's suing the employer for it. But like now, if we're going to fight back against public shamings, like, is public shaming?
Well, but okay, she's not been vindicated, right?
Not yet.
What do you mean not yet?
Well, we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, the only thing that is interesting, and maybe Justin can comment at one time. I don't do a lot of employment law, but a couple of cases that I was not the attorney on, but I was a member. I was involved with is some employment lawyers will be, if you represent an organization, they'll just say pay. It's not worth, throw 20 or 15, 20 grand at this person and make them go away. But for the most part, suing somebody for defamation is most lawyers won't take on those cases. So you can say, I'll sue you for defamation. I'm going to do this, that, or the other. It's rarely a successful tactic. Did you ever notice that the National Enquirer is still in business? And they've lost some big cases. They're still in business. You wonder why that is? And they publish some pretty crazy stuff. I think on this podcast, wasn't this podcast? Didn't we talk about a story where the defense was somebody on Fox News, or no, maybe I think Chad, it was Chad Andrus, a frequent guest on this, sent me a link to one of the successful defenses. One of the Fox News personalities presented was, even you can't believe everything they say is so outrageous that they can't be taken seriously. Even though what they're presenting, their opinion, they're presenting it as fact to their viewers. They were sued for defamation, and their argument, which I think in their case, which I don't think you could really, run this as a playbook every time you want to defend yourself for defamation. But I think in this instance, if I'm remembering correctly, the judge sided with them and saying, yeah, this, I don't know if it was Hannity or whoever it was, but it was like, yeah, this person's such a clown. They cannot be taken seriously. So he wins.
I think it was Tucker Carlson, actually. Is
that who it was? Yeah. I don't remember the specifics, but
his show it's a parody show, not a news show,
right?
But then I feel like if you're going to make that defense and you're going to throw that out there, then they need to say, okay, we're going to dismiss the suit. You win the suit, but you have to start your show every night with this is not a news show.
A disclaimer.
Yeah.
Are you at that point? Are you allowed to actually brand yourself as news? Wouldn't they have to change the title, like Fox Entertainment?
Well, I don't think what he says.
Entertainment and Sports Programming Network, Fox Entertainment and News.
Right. Well, the problem is I don't think that Tucker Carlson says that he's a news program.
Yeah.
But when he says things that he represents as fact, right? You don't have to be. The standard for defamation is not news, but it's, did you say something that you represented as truthful, and was it false and defamatory, right? And was it meant to be, would somebody think it was true? Essentially, truth is the thing is, truth is the ultimate defense to defamation. So if they're out there saying false things about somebody, in this case, the defense was, well, nobody would actually believe that this guy was to be taken seriously, which I can't believe that defense won. And like I said, if I can't believe that wasn't appealed and overturned or whatever. I never dug that deeply into it because it seems absurd to me on its face.
The Fox claim in court was that, quote, the general tenor of the show should inform a viewer that he is not stating actual facts about the topics he discusses. It is instead engaging in exaggeration and non-literal commentary. And the judge's response was, Fox persuasively argues that given Mr. Carlson's reputation, any reasonable viewer arrives with an appropriate amount of skepticism about any statement he makes.
Yeah, I think that the problem with that is if you took a serious look at the people that view his show, an objective person would understand that a great many, probably the majority of the people viewing his program believe wholeheartedly what he's saying, and that the next day they'll probably have conversations with their friends and people online saying saying, hey, I saw this and this is true. So whether what he's saying is true or not, his viewers believe it. And so I would take issue with that characterization of him.
And I'll say to go on the other side, because I know what people that do support Tucker Carlson or Fox News should say is, hey, a similar thing happened with Rachel Maddow. Rachel Maddow was sued for $10 million by One American News Network because she said something along the lines of, nobody believes what they say. This is a ridiculous operation. It's the most absurd of the absurd. And they sued her saying, like, prove that. And she was like, prove it? It was kind of a joke. Like, what are you talking about? So she also was sued, and they also said, hey, that was not a news commentary. So it's similar but different.
Well, but that's different. That would be a hyperbolic one,
right,
puffery statement, as opposed to a defense saying literally, my show is not to be taken serious, night after night. What this judge said is Tucker Carlson as a whole is not to be believed. It's almost comedic. It's the Daily Show.
And again, just so people know, like, we're not saying this about Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson's lawyers themselves made the argument that he is not a journalist and the show is not a news program. So
and that he's not to be believed. He's not to be taken truthfully.
Right. Yes. Just to be clear.
I assume Alex Jones would be under the same header.
Well, he had to do it in his divorce. Yeah, like this person said, he had to do it in his divorce case because
why
if I remember correctly,
did his wife come at him and say he's crazy?
Yeah, and she was trying to get custody, and they brought to the case, if I remember correctly, like her lawyers brought to court. They were like, "Look at the fucking crazy shit this dude says. He should not have kids. He shouldn't be in charge of kids." And then Alex Jones had to come out and be like, yeah, this is just an act. Like, just so you know, like, I don't believe any of these things I say. It's an act for radio. It makes me a lot of money. Nothing I say is real. And then he had to go on a show the next day and be like, hey, that was just for court. Like, I do believe all this is all true, but this is the system. And then his people are like, yeah, that's right, Alex. It's insanity, complete insanity, which I don't think, like, I feel like that should then be, the court should then come back and be like, bro, you can't go on the air after you say this in court and say you were lying in court. But at the same time, then he'd come back and say, I already said in court what I say on the show is fake. So you can't come and say that it's not right because I said it was fake already. It's a whole vicious cycle.
So did you guys see the case? Well, I know Adam did because we talked about it at the very end of the show today. There was a guy, back to Westbrook, there was a guy, Shane Kiesel, a fan in Utah, who got into a clash with Russell Westbrook. Westbrook thought that the guy was saying that he drops to his knees and sucks dick like he used to. That's the way he took it. That guy said, hey, that's not what I was saying. The dude got banned from Jazz games forever. He was fired from his job. He lost future opportunities. So he decided to say that Westbrook defamed him because he got labeled a racist homophobe, and he sued Westbrook for $100 million. So the judge today kicked the case, and I just wanted to punch up with Amy Dash, another legal insider. Not as good as Judge Dan, not as good as Justin Watkins, but good.
Of course.
And I just wanted to kind of give you the stream of what she was saying, if you guys can see this. So she said, important ruling, judge dismisses $100 million lawsuit, and fans claim that Russell Westbrook painted him as a racist homophobe, causing him to lose his job, receive death threats, and be banned from Utah Jazz games for life. So the judge said that whether a statement or a person is racist is a matter of opinion and cannot be proven true or false. Therefore, if Westbrook called the fan racist or inferred it, it would not be defamatory. What do you think of that, Dan?
Well, it's like I was talking about earlier. Defamation lawsuits in general are not the way to go, are not a great way to go. That's why, Adam was saying, well, if we're going to do this, everybody's just going to sue for defamation. Good luck. And that's what, this fan did have real repercussions. And that's why I think, probably he did get a lawyer to take it. But in general, insults are not they're not a basis for defamation. So in this case, this one was kind of on the line, right? It's like, he's a racist, but he backed it up saying, it's because he said this statement, right? So the act of the statement is what he's saying was the basis for the suit. When Westbrook claimed that he made that statement, I guess he was thinking, well, that was enough, to go there. But again, it's tough. These defamation suits are tough, and they're hard. They're hard to go all the way with. And I'm sure they were hoping for a settlement. You see those deep pockets,
right?
And it just didn't happen. And credit to these guys for sticking it out. I'm surprised. I would have been surprised if there wasn't a settlement offer maybe somewhere along the way, because this would have been a close issue. Because as I said, generally insults alone aren't enough. But because he backed it up with, this fan is a racist and he said this to me, this made it a close call. And so I would have been surprised. This guy probably could have got paid at some point. I'm surprised. I would not. I should say this. I wouldn't have been surprised if this guy didn't turn down a settlement offer at some point.
Oh wow! But by the way, how does this work when someone comes with a suit like this and they lose? Could Westbrook ask for his defense to be paid for?
It depends on where it was filed and the laws of where it is. Generally, though, no, unless the court determines it was so frivolous or vexatious that they would award fees to the prevailing party. In this case, because it was such a close issue, I would be surprised. I would say that both sides would just bear their own costs, and that in this case, boy, I don't know if generally this was probably a split. I don't know how this fee agreement would have worked. I know that the attorney that took the case, sometimes they do split agreements. It definitely would have been some contingency, like, I'm going to get a third of whatever we recover for you. So if you get $100 million, which never was going to happen off Russell Westbrook, right? Because, okay, even if this guy wins, he was never going to make $100 million the rest of his life, was he? Right? So the jury was never going to give this guy $100 million. I mean, a jury's got to, look at awards. All right, how much did he suffer and stuff like that. So what would have a realistic verdict would have been for him, even if he would have prevailed, right? So even if they say, okay, you've been defamed. By the way, how do you prove you're not a racist? Right?
Yeah.
Like that. Like, okay, even I think what this judge said, and I'm only going off of that little bit you just even told me, is how are you going to prove you're not a racist? Even if you prove that you didn't make that statement, so what? How are you going to prove you're not a racist? That's tough. They could have spent all sorts of time deposing all sorts of people, going and digging into this guy's background, and if he makes any sort, they can dig up any. I mean, think about they could have dug up guys from this guy's middle school,
Right.
and oh yeah, this guy said this about me, little Johnny on the playground in 8th grade. I mean, think about what could have happened with this case. So, but even if you got all past that and you got a jury to believe I'm not a racist, therefore I win, how much are you really going to get?
Right.
And then the attorney's going to be like, okay. So I don't know the answer to your question. I don't know how much he's going to have to pay in his own legal fees. I don't think he's going to have to pay Russell Westbrook's legal fees. I think Westbrook will just have to pay his own.
Adam?
Just to update real quick. Nuggets win. So good news for our Denver viewers.
It's like it never happened in Denver since 85% of the market couldn't say it.
Exactly.
Right. Now, in the Taylor Swift case, there was a radio DJ that Taylor sued Taylor Swift after she
creepy photo guy.
Yeah, who actually worked for my company.
Sorry.
Actually, Adam, don't you know him through a couple of people? Sort of.
There's some connection. I don't even remember at this point.
I thought he was pals with Graney.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. You remember crazy stuff. I forgot about that. Yeah.
I do remember crazy stuff. Yep. Keep going, Dan.
In that case, he lost so badly, she could have gotten all of her fees paid. She actually was nice enough that she didn't stick it to him. She could have, because can you imagine Taylor Swift's attorney's fees? I mean, it would have been hundreds of thousands of dollars. She would have literally ended this guy. I mean, she would have bankrupted him. Right. And she was nice enough to not do that.
I mean, Dan.
The Nuggets win. What am I going to say?
He's pissed off. He's pissed off. He can't watch the game. Making a statement.
Sounds like it was a pretty interesting ending too. Monty Morris missed 2 free throws, up 3 with 3 seconds. So Portland could have had a 3 to tie it, but Jokic got a tip in.
Nice.
Well, and also the thing with the Nuggets is they've completely mismanaged Michael Porter Jr. And so the thing is this: as soon as they get back on TV, like Michael Porter Jr., they've completely wasted his career. He's about to explode and to be a huge star. You think he's sticking around when Mike Malone has like completely screwed him?
Who?
Yeah, exactly.
That's when
who did Mike Malone throw under the bus and blame for the game 1 loss? When that game was on television. Who did he blame for the game 1 loss? MPJ. So guess who's going to bolt the second after the second he can?
He's trying to toughen him up.
Yeah, he'll toughen him up, and as soon as he he's going to be a superstar now, and he's going to leave, just like Melo.
I actually did have one more. It's not serious, but one more legal judgy question for you on this $100 million lawsuit. So I'll ask you up front before I tell you what the judge said beyond his initial comment. How often as a judge are you like, man, I got to make a statement here and I got to write something out. And, I want to make a difference after this case. I got to send a message.
Well, in a high profile case like that, everything is the scrutiny is going to be on you. Now, I've never been a part as a judge of any case, anything remotely near this at all. So it's not a fair question to ask me, but I would imagine anytime you're remotely near a case like this, the scrutiny is going to be on you. The media is paying attention. You're going to be on the Law and Sporter podcast being picked apart. So you are going to pay attention to the way you lay your words out.
So this guy actually, I think he felt like, hey, he needed to make a statement about racism in general. He said it is only in the free expression of these ideas that the nation can hope to heal the historic wounds of slavery and racial injustice that still fester today. That healing cannot occur if public dialogue about racism is silenced under the threat of defamation liability. That's really interesting.
Yeah, I don't think that's generally his place to be doing, going that far. You can definitely say, these types. You can be against a chilling effect, right? this case could have a chilling effect if you're punishing speech. That's the danger of defamation suits, right? That if somebody says something and you punish them for it, it has a chilling effect. That's why we have the First Amendment. That's why defamation suits are disfavored. That's why you don't punish somebody for just insulting somebody. That's why it's hard to win a defamation suit. That's why we don't punish the media. That's why we have the actual malice standard in media, right? So you're right. I mean, I know where you were kind of going, Cofield, and yeah, that's a little soapboxy, for me, for sure.
Adam, out of control judge, or is Dan not upholding his duty as a judge? Let's make a difference, my friend.
Yeah, Dan, you just don't get it.
Well, Mister, nobody on the planet Earth should be called a prostitute.
No, they should self-identify however they want.
Yeah, self-identify. Sexual promiscuity specialists.
Yeah, are you a sex worker? You can. I mean, there's plenty of women that do identify themselves that way. That was where I was going with that. But, yeah, I mean, I think judges have a right when they write their opinion on a case to write it how they want, right? I mean, that's kind of what their job is, isn't it?
Well, no, I mean, there's a judicial code about the way you conduct yourself. I mean, it's not
you can't come out and say this defendant was a piece of shit.
No, but I mean, also, I mean, it should be tailored within the confines of the law.
Sure.
I mean, your personal opinion. I'm not saying I wouldn't go as far as say he strayed too far, but to me, that was a bit much for me. Is all I would say is that was straying. You got to remember, you're not supposed to be political as a judge, and that was borderline for me, walking the lines political. There, I mean, it was towing that line, I would say. Somebody said it was a lot much. Bill Loney 6.
Bill Loney.
Baloney 6. I see you, Baloney.
It's William.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just using the full name. William Loney.
So what, Dan? What happened with your compliment today on a picture?
Yeah. So, by the way, the black robe is quite slimming, if I do say so myself. So I was out judging, out in Otis. So I look quite regal, and I posted a picture to Twitter of the robe because I want to get. I don't crack out the robe that often, with COVID and everything. So I put the picture on Twitter, and one of the female listeners says, "Oh, so this is the Dan Jacobs." And so I said, "Yes, I look a lot younger than you expected, right?" And which I'm sure I do, right? I mean, I look quite young there.
I was shocked.
Yeah.
I actually now I have a little more respect for you.
That's right.
Just a tiny bit.
Yeah. You went from this to this. Yeah. So and I said, I look quite, because I've always, we talked about when I was running the Faces of Death videos when I was, 16, right? I've always just seemed sound a lot older. I'm wise beyond my years, I would say.
Brilliant. You're brilliant.
Yeah. So, and I do, I'll get a lot of calls from listeners off the air. Like I'm like a priest, they'll just want to I'll be sitting in my office and listeners will call me and they want counsel for personal things. I'm I'm happy to take them, whatever. Yeah. And, but she said, what'd she say? She said, what was she say? She said, I said a lot younger than, you were expecting. She said, yes. And, a lot more handsome too.
Oh, wow.
And I said, at first you're like, yeah, that's awesome. And then I'm like, wait a minute. I don't sound handsome when I'm on the radio. Is this like a backhanded compliment? And but then she came back and she's what did she say? She said something like it was almost flirty. It was like no, you do, but not nearly as much as something like you're really good looking. I'm sorry, guys. Hey,
the robe has powers apparently.
Yes, I'm a lot better looking in person or on Twitter than I sound. I thought my voice sounded very great on the air. My wife tells me the velvety tones of Dan Jacobs sound great on, but apparently I just look a lot better on Twitter than I sound to the ladies on the 104.3 The Fan in Denver.
Brady says she was suing for a workman's comp for an eye injury. So
that's right. Yeah, she's a workman's comp lawyer.
Bill is very interested in what you're wearing under the robe. You appear to have a shirt on, but you could be bottomless. Who knows?
Yeah, well, the world will never know.
Yeah, you can find out. Adam, if you walked into a courtroom and you're kind of nervous about what's going to happen to you, and this is the judge, you're like, oh shit, this guy's.
No, I don't think so. Looks like a very distinguished gentleman.
Dan, you do realize I would assume almost everyone who walks in the room who's in trouble and is in front of you is trying to judge what you are. It's a weird thing, but I'm sure they look at you and they're like, I might be screwed. This guy looks cool.
I'm a nice guy. We were at the theater last night. My daughter and I go to a movie, and she works there, right? She's 16, about to be 17. And we're getting popcorn and whatnot. And then she's, talking to her friends. I'm getting the butter. Shocking, I would be, give me the butter. And she's like, my friend says you're scary. I'm like, what? How am I scary? What'd I do? I'm like, what do you mean I'm scary? She's like, I don't know. He just said you're scary. I'm like, how am I scary? I don't know. So I don't know.
Did you then throw the popcorn on a basketball player?
A basketball? No, I did not. That would be could be battery.
Okay.
What if it dripped in his eye?
Good.
Adam?
Good. It's good.
Dan looks like he loves Olive Garden and hates her salad. Thank you. Coming from a guy named Baloney.
That's hurtful.
Yes, that's. Why would you say that?
I have no idea what it means, but it's funny for some reason.
Yes.
I don't know why.
I think it's a real insult.
Yes.
A lot of good comments I was looking at.
Yes.
The room threw me off. Like the room in that photo that you posted, the full photo looks like a lot different than the zoomed in photo.
Well, it's the ambulance barn. It's Otis, Colorado.
Okay. It's like a lot of wide open space and then just a flag kind of jam. Like it looks like you're in a room with that's a flag room. But then we zoom out, it's like, oh, the flag is just kind of there, and there's just a lot of open space.
It's in the corner. We got to do the Pledge of Allegiance and all that stuff.
Dan, I have a picture you sent me, but you made some comments about your wife. Do I have to screen clip the picture, or can I put up?
Oh no, I think you're okay. I think.
I mean,
she's sleeping now. I'm scared. I don't remember what it was. Is it the mac and cheese?
It was the mac and cheese.
Oh, no, I think we're okay.
You gave it her age. Is that bad?
No, that's fine.
Okay, I don't want to get you in trouble. So, which is a first for me, believe me. If anyone who's listened to me over the years.
Oh wait, no, you're not gonna put the comments up, are you?
No,
yes.
Oh,
no, put the comments down. Take it down.
Take it down.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
yes,
take it down. No, don't put the comments up there.
God. Why?
Take it down. Cut it. Put Bernie back up.
Oh no, it's coming back. Shit. All right.
Give me in trouble. No, we can talk about the picture.
Fuck it. What's going on here? I can't get rid of it. The 73 column tweet deck page.
How many columns do you have in your tweet deck?
A lot. Well, because I have
you're about to get me killed, dude.
I have searches up there. Of course, I search myself. I always want to know what people are saying about me.
Oh my God, I just had heart palpitations.
He asked.
Yeah.
I thought I made it clear. I'm like, there are comments on there about your wife. And then you're like, you're putting the comments up. I'm like, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I do want you to, I don't have the picture of, but I do want, I'll clip the picture real quick so the audience can judge. But I do want you to mention, I didn't realize how many times you do this a year. What was going on the other day? Didn't you cook like freaking 800 pork chops or something? Or what were we cooking the other day for charity?
Oh, you should show the pork chops because they came out good.
I will try to find it.
Yeah.
I had important meetings today at the house. I had my foreman come in, and I'm desperate to get all my stuff done on my house. So she was kind of pushing it past 9 o'clock Pacific. So I had to.
The thing with real quick. The thing with the pictures with the mac and cheese, she ain't here. The last couple of times I was sending Steve these pictures. My wife for dinner, God bless her, she's cooking the mac and cheese like a college kid or like Adam would do. Like she's just like she's just discovering this. Like she's doing the Kraft mac and cheese and she's putting like ground beef in it, or like, like hot dogs or something. Like, I'm like, she's 43 years old. What are we doing? And it's good actually. Like I reheated some like this week. I'm like, yeah, it's actually pretty good, but I'm like, she's 43 years old. What are we doing?
Sometimes the simplest ways are the most delicious, Dan.
I mean, yeah, they're not bad tasting, but it's like, this is what we're having for dinner. It's
solid.
It's, it's like, I would expect my, my teenagers to go, hey, we made dinner. Aren't you proud of us? It's mac and cheese with, hamburgers, meat in it. That's what it was. I just don't know how far, the comments were, between Steve and I.
You just said first of all, yes.
He was like, he looked around also. He looked over his shoulder first.
He did start whispering. She could always watch the video back.
She won't do that. She cares nothing about my media career.
And you just said the exact same thing that you wrote to me.
Okay, well, all right. All right, put it up. You can put it up then. All right, fine. It's fine. She's not watching. Fine. Show the mac and cheese. Put it up.
I'm going to. Working multiple screens here. It's very complicated.
And then we'll show the pork chops, because the pork chops actually came out phenomenal.
I'm going to tell you before I put the picture up. Again, I eat like an animal, and so I could eat like hamburger helper for the rest of my life. What she's got here, it looks a little. I will say there's a little lack of color and maybe some seasoning, but not to be judgmental. But this is the kind of stuff I would eat every day, any day of the week. I would have no problem with this at all. What's the issue?
Well, all right. I don't know.
Adam, right?
40.
Goddamn teenager.
I can't really see it.
Oh no! Look at Brady. Would you feed a hog that? And that looks fine. It's some noodles and freaking beef. What's the problem?
I think it looks tremendous.
Right? And now I've blocked the comments with the comment. So
there you go. Well, I'm just saying, at our age, that's what we're doing, She works hard, by the way.
I got to answer Mark's comment here. This studio gets hot, but I don't think it's the freaking computer displays, TVs, and PCs. I don't know. There's an issue with the vent in here, and it's hot as F. So I kind of made the joke the other day that there might be a cat stuck up there. There's nothing smells, but there's so many goddamn cats around this house, including the one we just paid like $1,800 for to get freaking dental work. But yeah, it's hot in here, but it's not because of the equipment. It might be the equipment and the bulk in the room. I'll say that. And the hoarding. All the fucking junk around me is giving off heat.
By the way, Steve, Brady has a good idea. Can we send this photo to Ryan and say that JVT made it?
Oh, my God. Look. Here's. Hold on. She heard me talking about her. Oh, my God. If we did that, that would start. You know what? He's on tomorrow. So should I start the war?
Yes.
Do you want to tell Dan and some of the audience that don't understand the war between Von Tobel and Ryan McKinnell over cooking?
Well, John enjoys cooking for sure. He thinks it's fun. He likes to learn. He likes to explore a little bit. It's kind of like a passion that he has of like just trying to learn things. But he doesn't like claim to be some gourmet. But he definitely likes to explore like what you can do. Like he seems to be pretty good at it, enjoying it. And every once in a while, he'll send like a photo in a group text of like, "Hey, I'm working on this, like new recipe kind of thing, seeing what I can do with this."
And by the way, Adam, it always looks good. It always,
yeah, always looks good. And it will so trigger our other friend Ryan that he will then spend like the next 72 hours in the kitchen trying to make like 38 things from scratch and being like, "Look what I did here! I did this and I did," and we're like, it wasn't a competition, bro. Like, this is not Iron Chef. It was just John telling us what he was trying to do. Now you've spent literally one weekend. It was from Saturday morning until Sunday night to make Sunday night dinner, and like everything was from scratch, and it was insane. We're like, dude, what led to this? What is your issue that you have to do this? This is nuts. And then he'll like scream about, yeah, you bought that cheese from the store. Like, yeah, what was I supposed to do? Go milk a cow and like pasteurize it?
The last time what happened was Big Mac was making some kind of chicken, and Von Tobel noticed in the picture there was one of the freaking, half chickens from whatever, small chicken from
Costco, yeah.
Costco or something, right? He could see the packaging, kind of that dome and the plastic and all that. And Big Mac was like, "You're just throwing in Costco chicken that's pre-cooked." And McKinnell fucking went crazy. And then it became this whole debate with a bunch of listeners. Is Truth in here tonight? Yeah, Truth is in here. It became this whole debate over cheese, store-bought cheese, store-bought shredded cheese. If you need to get blocks of cheese and shred it yourself, there's different compositions to the cheese between what's shredded and what's in a block. And we're like, we're just trying to show off a little bit of food. Just calm down. Fuck.
He will lose his mind.
And we can set him up. He's so easily triggered.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, send him my wife's cooking.
Yeah, if we sent him that picture, we would get. This is not a joke. And by the way, listeners, if you think Ryan is out of control and insane on radio, be in a group text. Like, if we sent him that photo and said, "Hey, look, John made this. It's actually pretty good," I am not kidding you that we would get at least 40 texts from Ryan. At least.
Over the course of like 5 or 6 hours.
Oh, yeah. And you'd think it would be done. And it would be like a 2-hour delay. Like, oh, thank God it's over. And then you'd get like 11 more pop in. Like, oh, my God, dude. Let it go. It's crazy.
I don't even know what this means. It means anytime Big Mac says Steve's name at the end of explaining something, he's flustered. I don't know. He's a passionate dude, man. He fucking loves cooking. Here, let me punch this up. So you cooked somewhere between 600 and 800 pork chops.
Yeah, these came out great. And I had no idea. So we have my former food truck, right? The trailer has the giant griddle, and they got that real nice crust on them. See that golden crust, just like when Adam makes them. It's phenomenal. Adam, that was Adam's recipe. Yeah,
God damn it, the air fryer can do that. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I thought this was my picture when I mass grilled.
You and your fancy Blackstone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they just came out great. What was nice actually is the grill got so seasoned because we use a little bit of oil, and then I was only seasoning one side. But you have to scrape. You could make about 40 at a time on this size of a griddle. But the grill became so seasoned, you didn't even have to start. After a while, you didn't have to season them, and they were nice. They were the perfect thickness. Man, they were so good, and they had that one little layer of fat on the edge, and they were just like money. And so it was cool. Yeah, we did because we put 2 in a box. That's why we did 600 to 800, because we did about 300 meals. So nice. Served about 300 people. But we did 2 in a box, mashed potatoes, gravy, bam. Yeah, we did peas. I could care less about the peas, obviously. But what else we had in there? We had something else in there. Applesauce, because of the pork chops. We did applesauce too.
Sure.
So,
is this a terrible question when you're cooking this much in terms of pork chops? Do you actually use a thermometer to make sure they're fully cooked, or you just know?
I pretty much know, but I did have the instant read one. But
what do you do with a group like that? What do you do with pork? Because we always hear pork has to be like cooked a lot, and when I cook pork, I actually want it kind of juicy, so I'd rather have it on the lower end. But people are always like, don't be afraid to cook it up to just 165 instead of like 185, 190.
Yeah, no, I mean when you're serving the public like that, it's not like you're serving your buddies. You got to be careful. But when you it's gonna sound braggadocious, but
smug.
When you've been cooking a while, you can know by feel. There's actually the thumb test too, but
wow, look at this.
You can't really
Fucking truth comes in flexing.
Yeah.
He's like, I only do 150. Like, whoa, okay.
Yeah. So, by feel of the meat, if it's done or not. But, I did have one because we had, certain pork chops are a little bit thicker than the other ones, but the thin ones, man, they cook so quick and easy. But yeah, you can't take a chance when you're serving the public like that, you're going to get them sick. But we tried not to, overdo them. Like, my goal is the best free meal in Denver. So I'm not trying to send out crap food. That's for sure.
Adam, what would you do if you were like, how many pork chops are you cooking at a time, Dan?
We did over 600 that day.
Adam, what would you do if you had to cook this much meat and you're giving it to people?
I mean, I'd hide. I can't imagine any scenario where I would be doing that, where somebody would ask me to do that. I would ruin everything.
Right. You'd be so nervous.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
Very impressive.
Now it's harsh. Now you've opened the door on your wife there. Brady, is that free meal better than what your wife is making for free?
Yeah.
Well, I got to tell you, those pork chops came out way better than the funny thing about those pork chops were probably better. This is a dirty little secret. Those pork chops were probably better than any pork chop you'll order at any restaurant. And the dirty little secret about those pork chops was we got those from the food bank. Remember the old joke about government cheese?
Yeah.
They had the black label, the seal.
Yeah.
Those were from the food bank. Those were government cheese pork chops. Those were like,
by the way, those are not like skimpy pork chops.
No. They were perfect. They were the perfect size.
Right.
But those were USDA. Those were like government pork chops. And they were perfect. I mean, they were absolutely perfect. And they were better than you will get in, they were the best people I've ever had. But they were like, government pork chops. They were awesome.
Wow.
Did you, do you put any seasoning on them?
Well, that's what I was saying. I did. So, we put oil, and then we started with the seasoning, but the Blackstone, after a few kind of batches, absorbed the seasoning, and the grill became so seasoned, you didn't have to add it anymore. Because I had people doing taste tests, right? Actually, the volunteers were like, because I was like, because you have to scrape that grill. When you start putting that seasoning on, you got to scrape that grill in between everything, and it really slows you down. So I did a couple of batches without seasoning, and these volunteers, once the word gets out that the pork chops are so good, people are like, can I have one? Can I have one? And so I'm like, tell me honestly, do these taste okay without me putting seasoning on them every time? And they're like, oh no, dude, these are perfect. So you didn't have to anymore. Like just that crust already had enough seasoning from the grill being seasoned. I didn't have to do it anymore after the first few batches.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, Adam. Adam, what do you have in mind? What are you going to make now for a snack?
Right now?
Yeah.
I don't know, whatever I can put in the microwave.
Microwave. I thought you had the air fryer. We have, so that's a lot of work. Since the show.
It's a lot of work.
Air fryer?
Yeah, microwave's easy.
It's the easiest thing.
That's what's replaced, not wholly, but since I've got the air fryer back in the mix now, that's because just Watkins asked me, last time, what does Dan Jacobs put in the air fryer? Essentially, that's what we use instead of the microwave now, is the air fryer.
Nice.
Smart. Definitely send me the photo of the mac and cheese though, please.
But next week is brisket at the old church
so
free meal.
Oh,
so good.
By the way, we could do this all night. We're gonna have Mark McMillan on tomorrow. Let me just find Mark's meal that he made tonight. Oh, by the way, Dan, did I put you on? I don't think you ever reacted. Did I put you on the picture and thread on the peanut butter and jelly ribs?
Oh God, yeah.
And Mark McMillan, our football playing friend, who's quite the cook, and Naked City Pizza Chris were both like, "What the fuck?" And then I looked on YouTube, and they're actually people have. It's not something wacky. People have tried it. You don't think that would work at all? Peanut butter and jelly ribs?
I mean, I know people. I mean, I don't know. What did Elvis like? Fried peanut butter and banana sandwiches or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, people have their own kicks. I mean, it's not true. I mean, it's sacrilege I mean, it was like you putting steak in the air fryer. As far as I'm concerned, I mean, should you be punished? Yeah, you should be punished for it. But people are going to do it. People are going to do it. No.
Could jelly ever be part of something good to marinate ribs with, or no, not even the jelly?
Well, people do like mint jelly, type stuff. I mean, jelly. Yeah, no, like I use jelly, apple jelly in sauces and glaze and stuff like that. Yeah, but I mean, just what they did was an abomination. Let's call it what it is, right? It's a joke. It's clown. It's cartoon stuff. Whatever. It has no place. Yeah, it's an abomination.
I don't know why this reminded me of it, but I will say, like, our old friend Adam that owned the bar here, Freaking Frog, opened a barbecue spot for a while.
Yep.
And they did have a fried peanut butter and jelly on the menu, which was one of the greatest things I've ever had.
Really? Yeah, I mean, why not?
It was delicious.
Remember when Bennigan's, they were dying off, and you would go to Bennigan's, and it's like the one time in your life, every few years, you could get a Monte Cristo. Oh. You'd feel guilty, but it's like, yeah, I'll get a Monte Cristo. It's a fried sandwich, right? It's battered and then deep fried. But I'm at Bennigan's, I'm going to have a Monte Cristo sandwich, right? And I'll feel guilty about it. It's like going to Long John Silver's. It's tasty, it's battered, it's delicious. I'll feel bad about it. I'll feel guilt and shame while I eat it, but it's delicious. Well, then Bennigan's, I don't know if you guys remember Bennigan's, but they were going under. So they're like, all right, everything on the menu, Monte Cristo. Like everything was a Monte Cristo. It's like Monte Cristo chicken, Monte Cristo cookies, Monte Cristo, everything was Monte Cristo. And they held on for a while. Then I don't know where you guys are, but here there's no more Bennigan's.
No, I don't think
I thought we had a Bennigan's at Sunset and Sunset. It's now like, I don't know. Maybe it's not E strings anymore.
I think it's a Fat Burger now, I think.
Is that right? You know what I'm talking about? Is that where the Bennigan's was? One of them here was that Sunset and Sunset. Once you were on Sunset, you start going down the hill, past Fox 5, and you start going down Sunset Station. It was right there, I thought, but I might be wrong.
I think it was. I think maybe you're right about that. I was going to think I didn't think we even had one, but if there was one, that might have been it. Definitely East Coast.
Yeah, for sure.
Chili's did that for a minute with their chicken crispers, right? Because for a while it was like Chili's has those really good chicken deep fried battered chicken crispers. Then everything was chicken crispers for a while, but then they came back to normal.
So here's McMillan says he did a 3 bone beef ribs on top of mustard greens. So
yeah,
it looks pretty solid. Good crust.
Yeah. No,
good bark. Good bark. Is that what it's called? Bark.
Yeah, that was I did beef ribs. I think I told the story. I did a video for the station called "How to Be the Tim Tebow of Christmas Dinner."
Right.
And
ruin it? Ruin it?
No, how to be the hero, how to be the Tim Tebow of Christmas Dinner. And then unexpectedly I got pulled into this murder trial. It was a murder trial. And little did I know, I was a big hit with all the sheriff, the cops down in Douglas County. They loved the Tim Tebow beef ribs dinner from Christmas, and they're all giving me a hard time about brisket and everything. I'm like, I didn't know I was so big with the cops down there. So it's great. They love beef ribs.
The way to do that is to drop everybody's dinner on the ground and stomp on it.
Oh my God, you're one of those. We did a show on it. People are jealous of Tim Tebow.
Jealous.
They're jealous. That's why they hate him. They're jealous.
No, I'm more supportive of people who deserve opportunities.
Like Tim Tebow. You're jealous. Hey, man, You're jealous. Hey, just admit it.
No.
You're jealous of Tim Tebow.
Get
in line. Get in line.
Like, I'm angry for somebody who's not getting a chance. Because
get out of here. Not getting a chance. We talked about that.
That's factual.
Right now, he's the 90th man on the roster, position that's so important. The Broncos don't even have one.
Raiders don't right now either. Well, it is that important. The spot is that important because somebody might come available that you want to sign right away.
Right.
Which is why you need the spot. But yeah, factually, he's keeping somebody that deserves to be there out of camp. That's not really debatable, and that you could. You have a chance to get seen. It's not always about making that team. It's about getting seen by other teams. And I've talked to player after player after player covering the Raiders of, hey, I went to a camp. I didn't expect to make the team, but I wanted to show them that I could do everything that they asked. I wanted to show every other team in the league. I wanted to have references to say, hey, look, I was in a camp and I might not have made that team, but you could tell this other team, when they call, that I was really hardworking and everything else. Like, the more opportunities people have, the better chance they have to make it at some point.
You know what they should have done then? They should have got a team to the playoffs and beat the Steelers, I guess. I don't know. Maybe they should have won a couple national championships in college.
And then waited 10 years and changed position and said, now I'm going to take a spot now. If Tebow did this at 24, nobody has any problem with it. This is exactly what people said he should do.
Well, those people should shut up and do it themselves then, I guess. I mean, if a guy's jealous of Tim Tebow because he's missing that spot on the roster, get better. Quit being jealous.
The point is, if it's merit based, it's not get better. If it's merit based, he's not fucking there.
That's not true because he is there.
No, yeah, because his friend is the coach who wants to ruin a franchise by bringing in a racist lunatic from Iowa, and the players are right away like, dude, what are you doing? Like, this is insane. How are you running this organization? And now he's doing it with a player. Like, hey, this is my buddy. He's coming in here to give it a shot. Like, no.
You think Urban Meyer's like, I want to fail. You know what? I want to lose. I want to tank. I want to ruin my career. That's why I came here.
No,
I'm bringing in Tim Tebow to make us worse.
No,
that's what I want.
No, he thinks what works in college and this nonsense of just bringing in my guys is going to work now. And it's not. These are adults. These are grown men. It's not going to work. That's why, if people, people can say what they want about different, news sources or whatever, or like anonymous sources, but that's why players are going to outlets and saying, like, what the fuck is this? Like, what are we doing here? Who is this guy? This is going to blow up on him.
It probably will. I don't think it's going to work out, but that remains to be seen. People didn't think Taysom Hill would work out, whatever. He's essentially going to be a gadget player. And if it works out, it'll work out. People were like, oh, he can't be a tight end. And that's what we were talking about on the station. He's not going to be a tight end. And lo and behold, what came out today? Oh, he's not really going to be a tight end. Duh. He'll have a package. And if it works out and he makes them better through some innovative plays like he kind of did when he was here till he got figured out, that'll work. If not, so people hope Tim Tebow succeeds just to piss off Adam. Yeah. But, he'll get cut. He won't be there. But the fact that you're making two arguments, that Urban Meyer wants to fail or Urban Meyer's just not. It's just not going to work because Urban Meyer's incompetent. Well, they hired Urban Meyer because they think he's the right guy for the job. He's going to but he's not bringing in Tim Tebow because he think Tim Tebow is going to help him suck.
No, I honestly think what he's doing is bringing in Tebow so everybody talks about Tebow instead of talking about his, if when they start to struggle. Like, it'll be, well, Tebow, and that'll be all the attention. Like, that's what I think he's doing. And giving a favor to another guy and helping ownership sell jerseys and tickets and everything else. Like, that's what they're doing. And if they were honest about it, that's great. But to pretend like he's, hey, we're going to give this guy a shot. Like, you're not. That's not what you're doing. It's a distraction and a gimmick to sell jerseys. And by the way, fuck Tim Tebow for already doing this. Because we can say what we want about football. He did it in baseball too. He was hitting like 160, and we're letting him keep having a job because he's Tim Tebow when somebody else could have been trying to fulfill their dream by being in the organization. He's already done it once. He's doing it again.
If you can't beat out a 36-year-old Tebow, that's your problem, Jack.
No. He's been beaten out. Nobody on this entire planet believes that Tim Tebow is better than a bunch of guys that are sitting out right now that don't have a job. Nobody can even make that argument. There's no fucking chance. It's not about merit.
No, I don't believe. No, actually, I don't believe that. I believe that there is a role for Tim Tebow. It's a gadget role. That it's similar to a Taysom Hill. He's been a few plays a game, a gadget gimmick package. Yeah, he could make a difference.
It's true. Tebow will be playing in the MLS next year. Is funny. I think that's probably true.
Ocho Cinco style.
He's going to be there.